Duty, excuses for bloodshed. That is why I left it behind all those years ago. It took just one night to bring me back. Once he has the sword, that will be the end of all of us.
Sorry, I'm hypnotized. I want to watch the entire movie now. Let's go, go, go!
Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you have control over what you watch, when you watch it, where you watch it, and what device you watch it on. I'm Tom Merritt, and Brian Brushwood. I had no idea there was so much EDM in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah. Well, and plus, like, EDM, conjoined with Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. There's CCR to my EDM. It's
EDM revival.
Messed up.
It's the Creedence Clearwater revival.
Yes.
I don't know what we're saying, but it doesn't matter because we're excited to have Ewan Rankin from British Tech Network back on the show. It's been too long, buddy.
Hello, mate. Yep, no, it has. It's been ages. Ages. I thought I'd upset you.
Do you still watch television?
Not that much. I watch it on a TV, but a lot of it doesn't come out the TV in terms of aerial anymore.
Yeah. So that's a whole different world over there. And sometimes you guys are ahead of us as far as what's available, like with Freeview and Sky. So it's always interesting to get your perspective on these cord-cutting issues. And you absolutely did not piss us off. We're just slow. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's okay. You're popular. I'll just sit and wait for you. Catch up. It's all right.
Popular, disorganized, you believe what you want. Shall we move into our primary target?
If you insist.
It's a good idea. All right, so first of all, my wife works at YouTube. Second of all, this is a Wall Street Journal article talking to sources, people familiar with the matter, so we don't know if any of this is true. But Suzanne Daniels, head of the YouTube Originals, she used to be the head of programming at MTV, and Kelly Merriman, who's YouTube's content partnerships head, and she used to work at Netflix with Robert Kinsel, the guy who's above both of them at YouTube, are apparently been meeting around with studios and production companies in Los Angeles looking for either original content from studios or licenses for new content, maybe things that are appearing on television that they could then put on YouTube, with plans to add those things to YouTube Red in 2016. They have relationships with the studios through Google Play where they sell movies and TV shows already. So, Brian, it sounds like they want to add one more thing to YouTube Red, which is kind of a Hulu/Netflix approach.
Yeah, this is a weird place because on the one hand, I totally understand. If you have this asset, if you have this brand, if you're targeting this demographic and you have talent that you know would love to do this stuff, then yeah, of course, that's exactly your play. However, having said all of that, on the flip side, if you want to make great fictional programming, I don't know wandering around the office saying, hey, any of you guys good at acting or directing or whatever is the best way to go about collecting everyone.
Wait, well, what do you mean? That's not what they're doing.
Well, I mean, they're hiring from within, right? I mean, they're building.
They're taking their employees, Suzanne Daniels and Kelly Merriman, and saying, allegedly, they're going to meetings with the production companies, the likes of the people who make Man in the High Castle, House of Cards, etc., and saying, hey, could we get one of those?
Whoa, you lost me when you said that the employees at YouTube are the ones making Men in the High Castle.
Well, I'm sure when Man in the High Castle happened, someone from Amazon met with someone at the production company that did Man in the High Castle and said, we'd like to order this. So that's what's going on here is YouTube's original content heads are taking meetings in Hollywood with people saying, hey, just the same way Ted Sarandos, who's the head of content for Netflix.
Okay, no, I follow you. And again, neither of us are in a position to speak on this, but it's like we're not looking at homegrown talent in this regard. We're looking at
no, they've already
YouTube
announced
Red.
that, right? Remember, they said there's going to be a PewDiePie show and a Fine Brothers show and all these shows from the original.
Which again, you'll forgive me for immediately thinking that we're hearing more of the same of that, since they've worn that on their sleeve from day one.
So that's still happening too. We're not losing that. They're saying, yeah, we're still going to do the YouTube originals. But apparently, they're also looking for some higher end content.
Okay. Sure.
Ewan, what do you think if YouTube came out in 2016 and said, hey, guess what? We have 3 shows that are right there on the same quality level with Transparent, Man in the High Castle, House of Cards?
Yeah, well, you can't knock the fact that you get more TV that's worth watching, because I think there's a bit of a lack of that in some of the regards at the moment. But the thing that always bothers me with this kind of stuff is Amazon's got an outlet. Netflix kind of got there before everyone else to a certain degree, so they've got their kind of niche market. I think YouTube is powerful. They've got lots and lots of subscribers. They've got lots and lots of advertising ability, and they've got Google behind them clearly with the listings. But if they're going to say, oh, well, you've got to pay for this through Google Pay or something like that, then that's a finite garden for people to be curated from and bought into as subscribers. And I think that's the thing, is that, you know, people have this fixed vision about what YouTube is to them. My son sits down and watches YouTube, and he goes through gaming videos and music videos, and he consumes free content on it. He's then got to find me to pay $9 when I already pay for Netflix, I already pay for Amazon Prime. I'm now going to pay for YouTube, but YouTube's free, isn't it? I'm 50 years old. YouTube's free, I thought. And I think that's the thing, they've got to break past that kind of this is what you are. This is what the world understands you as.
Maybe I've been drinking the Kool-Aid my wife serves me, but I think this is a smart move, if it's true, that YouTube says, hey, you know what Amazon does? They give people free shipping, a bunch of books that are part of a subscription service, a video service, and just keep adding things so folks will want to pay for Amazon Prime for different reasons, and they build up a bigger list that way, and then people discover the other parts that they might not have signed up for otherwise. That's what YouTube seems to be doing here, is saying, if you want our music service, it's $10 a month, but that also gives you commercial-free YouTube, access to YouTube originals, and now possibly access to YouTube originals that aren't just made by YouTube natives, but is the kind of stuff you would see on cable television.
Is that enough?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Is that a big enough package to make people want to go into that route?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big problem is how do you seduce people into the idea that it's worth joining your Columbia House record deal in order to Netflix did a wonderful job by dangling that in front of us in terms of House of Cards, right? Which had the promise to be good, and oh, by the way, it was freaking fantastic. Same thing has to happen here with YouTube. And I don't know that they're dangling anything outside. And again,
we don't know.
Not an announcement.
We don't even know if they found anything. And
right,
but
correct.
I think you're pointing in the right direction, Brian, which is this part of YouTube Red. And I think YouTube Red, for some people, just going commercial free is good enough. For some people, just getting music the way they would pay for Spotify is good enough. So we can argue all day long about whether YouTube Red will actually get people to pay the $10 a month. But I do think that if they're able... that this part of the strategy hinges on whether Suzanne Daniels can find transparent House of Cards, Game of Thrones level content that people suddenly say, oh, that looks amazing. I have to watch that. Okay, how do I get it?
Right.
And then our debate will be like, how many of these pay services do we have to get inside of in order to watch all the stuff we want? And in that case, YouTube says, well, you also get all these other perks here, unlike Netflix, where all you get is Netflix.
Yeah. No. I doggone it. Look, here's the problem, Tom, is you keep saying things exactly succinctly to where nobody else can possibly contribute. So I feel like now is a good time for us to move forward and talk about our fabulous supporters.
No, I think Netflix is a historical thing. So they do keep producing good stuff, which keeps you going. I'm not going to cancel the subscription. Amazon's a different thing because with Prime you get things on top of things on top of things you already had, and it makes you want to engage and stay within the field. Google has got to create that, or YouTube has got to create that desire to enter into that sphere. And I think that's where the challenge comes. They have the ability and the power to get to a lot of people to attract them into that, but they've got to make it really attractive. And if they do, yeah, I think it's a great move.
One of these days, Brian, I'd like to make us really attractive, but it's going to take a lot of money to do that.
Well, we gotta make our face up nicer. Like we're very asymmetrical and we're heavier than we should be. There's two hosts.
One ear's lower. On me.
Exactly. Look, but the miracles of modern science will allow us to finally look as beautiful as we were meant to be.
Yeah.
So did you watch
and all
Say
we
This Was
need
True
is for
Song?
you to give us $1 per episode at patreon.com/cordkillers.
Heck yeah, dude. Patreon.com/Cordkillers is the way that you can keep us loud, live, and independent. Dude, we are just, $39 shy of our 2K of an episode mark. Let's get back there, dude.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed the show, then join in. Join the crew.
2K, it's the new 4K, as long as you're talking about our Patreon number.
Yes.
Let's move on to signals intelligence. All right, so Ceso, NBC Universal's subscription service for comedy folks, has kicked off a free beta trial starting Thursday, December 3rd last week. It'll eventually cost you $4 a month. Has NBC shows like The Office, Parks and Rec, Saturday Night Live. Also has some things that they've acquired the rights to, like Kids in the Hall, Monty Python, Upright Citizens Brigade. They have clips from their late night shows as well as full late night shows. What do you think, Brian? Were you able to check this thing out?
Yeah, I got your text saying that I needed to drop everything I was doing and run out and check out Ceso. Unfortunately, and this will be one of the interesting things I want to check in with you on, is I did so by trying to use desktop computers and see if I could look at anything on there. And instead, all I got was the ads or whatever. Did you watch it using the app, or how did you encounter it?
No, I just watched it on browser.
They only have browser. I don't think they have an app.
Okay, because like, and again, for the record, just to dial it down a notch, I've got 3 kids. There's noise happening at all times. I thought I did a pretty good job of figuring out how I could watch whatever it is, but all I ended up doing was just watching the ad advertising this for like 5 times. What about you, Bryce? Did you actually watch?
I watched it today. I signed up for the beta, and they sent me the email with the code, and I signed up for an account, and I liked it. I watched their original UCB show, which I thought was really funny. It's a good mix of sketch and stand-up and character work. The Cyanide and Happiness, they're doing a new season of that on Ceso. And they had the old season of that, and a lot of like classic and modern classic comedies. So I think, as someone who really likes comedy, I think $4 a month is not a terrible sell for that.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the originals, which would be, I guess, one of the things that might convince me. I love having access to all the Monty Python. I don't know if I want to spend $4 a month. What does this look like to you, Ewan?
Totally American, ring-fenced, and something I can't get over here. NBC stands for no bloody chance.
Yeah. Do you have
When
any
you said Universal,
services
that's a bit
similar to
different.
this where like a network takes a slice of their content and says we'll sell that to you online?
No,
Nothing.
nothing at all like this. So Sky has got Sky Now, which is for people who don't subscribe to Sky. They can buy a monthly membership that gets some of the stuff. But I'm a regular subscriber. I've got Sky Go on 4 devices. It's but they're the only ones I can think of. I can't think of anyone else that sells.
And that gives you multiple
partition.
channels, whereas this is just one company's offerings, and not even all from a channel, really.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is it's kind of like, what would you get from this that you wouldn't get from Netflix? Is my thought.
Just the stuff that they've got exclusive licenses to, right? I do think it's an interesting approach by NBC to say, let's do comedy instead of let's do an NBC app, which is what CBS did. They said it's CBS All Access. Everything CBS is in this one app. So Brian, if you were able to get this going, because there is some confusion, they have two different URLs, and it took me a little concentration to get past.
Yeah, and
the
plus,
sign up.
as I'm poking around it, I'm remembering that like I originally tried to access it through the mobile device, and that was the problem. But now that I'm doing it from a desktop device, it is fairly straightforward. I mean, you answer one trivia question, which is painfully obvious to any fan of comedy, and then you're brought into the environment. Everything looks on the surface like it's awesome, but you've spent more time with it than I have. What do you say?
It's not anything I'd pay $4 a month for. I signed up for the free beta and I poked around and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I can get late night clips on YouTube and Hulu and lots of places. It's great to have old episodes of Monty Python. I actually have those on DVD, I guess, if I really ever want to watch them. It's not something that I'm dying to have access to all the time. There's just not anything in there that's compelling me to pay the $4, but maybe I'm just not in their target market.
So tell me this, if you were going to launch, and this is wild speculation, of course, but like if you were going to launch a new project, would you do so as a channel on YouTube that is a brand on an established platform, or would you do it as a standalone service, like Ceso? Like that's the problem, is like if you're selling Ceso, no matter what, you're selling, hey, don't go to YouTube.
I guess you're right. I'm thinking of this as NBC versus CBS. And I think CBS obviously shouldn't launch a CBS All Access on YouTube. They're going to make a lot more money, even at $6 a month, selling CBS All Access. But that's an interesting way to look at it. If you say, should NBC launch a new channel called Ceso on cable? Or should they just launch a direct-to-you internet native channel at $4 a month? I mean, this is a la carte, right? NBC has a new comedy channel, and you can pay $4 a month to get it or not. Up to you.
Yeah, no, hearing you put it in those terms makes me think, this is not the most efficient way to launch a new idea.
It also is not something that you have to get. Like maybe that's where we're headed with this a la carte-ish universe, which is we shouldn't feel like just because we have Netflix and maybe Hulu or whatever services that we have to subscribe to them all. This is what a la carte looks like. There are lots of channels that you choose not to subscribe to.
Yeah. Maybe we launch a channel called and that other one, which you also not subscribe to.
All right, let's try to gear some stuff up because we have some news about Android TV.
Good enough.
So the overall news doesn't seem that overwhelming. Twitch.tv is now available on the Android TV platform. So that brings it to the Nexus player, brings us to some smart TVs. It also puts it on the Shield TV. And the Shield TV was the only set-top box that allowed you to stream to Twitch. Oddly enough, until now, you couldn't actually watch Twitch. You could only stream to it, unless you did it in a browser or something like that. Twitch also updated its Android mobile app to give everyone the new Whispers 2.0 functionality, aka some kind of enhanced chat experience. Does this, I guess the question is, does this actually turn Android into a more attractive platform to folks who are way into Twitch?
I'll defer to you in here, but I suspect that this is a case of to me, the story is not Android gets Twitch. The story is Twitch expands into Android, right? Where it's like Twitch's weird up and down tail has been extraordinary to watch, especially as they started off as a rejection of all the things that that we got started with, where Justin.tv was, streaming anything, anytime, but then they pulled away from that, and then it became only, video games, and now it's okay, video games plus something artistic, whether that's cooking or painting or what have you. I'm gonna say short term, yeah, sure, big win for Android. Also long term, I don't know.
Yeah, Ewan, does this change your opinion about Android TV at all?
No, not in the slightest. I think the other thing with Twitch is it's kind of pandering to quite a fickle market, as Brian's is saying there. You know, my son wanted Twitch desperately, got access to Twitch, did a couple of things, and then drew back to what he knew and wanted. And I think they're on a treadmill path of almost having to kind of come out with something on a repeated basis to pull people back towards it, and then people drift away again, and then they're trying to pull someone back to it. It hasn't got the traction that the other things within the gaming world have got by any stretch.
And you know, I mean, Android TV is not something that has been getting a lot of traction either. So it could be, like you say, Brian, better for Android TV than it is for Twitch. The news could be like, hey, Twitch actually decided to make an app for this platform. It was already available for Android, just not for Android TV.
Yeah, and I understand Twitch's desire to go slowly, right? Like, that makes sense. It's just that, you know, meanwhile, it's like, look, we all get it. Yes, you're going to become kings of streaming. Let's skip to the part where everybody can stream whatever they want all the time, which, by the way, was your original plan anyway.
All right, we're going to get to some front lines, but Brian, first, there are things we do outside of this show. There's a whole world outside of Cordkillers.
Yeah, man. Look, you and me take time every Monday night to talk about the nudes of cord killing. And I think I said nudes instead of news, which was pretty
Sometimes.
rad.
Depends on the
Sometimes
show.
we talk about the nudes. But yeah, man, you and me, our day jobs are very, very different. You, of course, are a tech journalist. I, of course, am a touring stage magician. But occasionally we have ways that people can throw us a few bucks. For example, if you head on over to scamstuff.com, that's gear for the modern rogue. Scamstuff.com, we have, getting ready for your holiday season, we have not only some of the best magic gizmos in the biz, but this month we're really pushing the Rogues Tavern, which is a complete collection. It's everything that you would love to see in the perfect bar to allow you to pull off all of the Scam School originals, and they're all available in one box. And if you dig the show, then ba-ding, you can give me money. How about that?
Instant Tavern.
Yeah, correct. Comes
Just
with
add
a with a challenge coin and everything.
Fantastic. Go check it out, folks. It's Scam Stuff, right?
Yep. .com.
.com. Always with the .coms, these people. Let's look at the front lines.
Yeah.
Front lines.
Vessel, the subscription video company, is adding the ability to respond with videos. That's something YouTube used to let you do, but they got rid of. They said nobody was using it, but people complained when they got rid of it. So now Vessel has something called Threads that lets anyone, even people not paying for Vessel on the free tier, use the feature on the iOS and Android apps. They started it with just a few creators, and they say they'll expand it from there.
Yeah. I don't know entirely what that means, because what I usually do is I have like two go-to things. If somebody says something about my hair, I usually respond with a link to a Google image search of Giles' hair, or I will, if somebody responds with an especially cheesy, you know, like, this guy's dumb for whatever reason, I just respond with a YouTube video, again, a link to it, just with a wah, 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 is the thing. I wonder, like, is it different because it autoplays or because it's...
No, you can record a message and say, I would like to respond to your show, and then post it as video instead of typing it out.
Yeah, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in speaking on behalf of other people. Ewan, what about you, man?
Well, I think if YouTube couldn't make something work, I don't know that many other people are going to make it work, and it just seems an invitation to troll central here as well, which the video stuff, okay, video, maybe if the video's got a face on it, then that's a bit different because it's less anonymous, but you could see people making stuff that's really quite unpleasant and unkind at times.
I would have so much respect if somebody was actually showing me their face while they were trolling me. Hey, music service Vivo is acquiring Showyou, a curated subscription-based video streaming platform. Showyou offers a wide selection of video from content producers like NASA TV, the AP, Reddit TV, Vice Media, ABC News, and more. What do you think this means as far as like the day-to-day experience of folks like you and me, Tom?
Yeah, well, I mean, Vivo's trying to get off the YouTube platform. So what they're probably going to do is say, hey, guys, you want a music video platform? We'll sell you one. And they'll use the Showyou platform that is used to sell NASA TV and AP to sell Vivo Music. And Vivo has all the major music companies on board, so it'll be a compelling product. So you'll have another music service to choose whether or not you want to pay for it.
Fair enough.
Ewan, you want to pay for it?
The only thing I think about this is it's good if it helps you find stuff, and that's one of the things that there's a real problem with. There's so much stuff out there to look at, that trying to find something when you specifically know what you want, and it was a video you watched a year ago, and you vaguely know the title and you vaguely know the name of the person that created it, and you still can't find it. So anything that disseminates searchability within that, I'm fine with. I think it's what you said, though. They just want to get themselves into their own walled garden and then look at monetizing it that way. And it's another smacks a little bit of the music industry not realizing that it's probably better off staying with YouTube.
Well, yeah, and it could be really bad for YouTube if Vivo decided to pull their music. But at this point, I don't think they would do that. If this took off, though, they might be able to, and that's what they want. They want to hedge their bets against that. The BBC announced it's working on something called visual perceptive media last week. It's an experiment that automatically edits video stories to suit the viewer's tastes. An app tracks your music tastes, asks you some personality questions, and then assembles a version of a video drama for you. Actions in the video may change, character perspectives be emphasized differently, scenes could be lengthened, shortened, or even cut altogether, and the color palette and the soundtrack can also vary. There's no public prototype. We can't try this yet, but they're developing it, they say.
Am I a bad person if I say like I'm 100% on board for this? Like this makes sense to me. Like there are certain elements that we tend to like as far as framing, the cinematography. We like certain parts to be in focus, other parts not. We like story elements. We like character arcs that fit certain archetypes. What's wrong with the computer recognizing all of that and handling all the heavy lifting on it, right? Like I'm okay with that.
If they do it right, I can see it, right? Because if it fits my tastes, as long as it's not the same thing every time, which I would hope it wouldn't be. This is your TV license fee at work, though, Ewan. What do you think?
BBC is usually pretty good at this kind of stuff. Anything that's cutting edge, they do. They are very good at testing new areas and looking at new technologies. My reservations with this as a service is the fact that, there's some stuff out there at the moment that's got people actually sitting, thinking, trying hard to get it right, and it's horrific. So the fact that this thing's making it up as it goes along doesn't arm me with a great deal of optimism. But I think if it changes the way that things are shot and makes it reminiscent of something that you like in the past, rewriting the script and coming up with different endings, that's something that's going to have to take a bit of convincing, I think. But I think, the way it's shot and the emphasis of characters could change based on feminist, masculine or lesbian and gay, that kind of stuff. That could be quite interesting to do.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point where, like, I could picture a world where no, we don't let these algorithms write everything, but as stuff is written, similar to what we have with Microsoft Word nowadays, you write a sentence that is, poorly constructed, and you get the green jaggy underline saying like, sure you mean to say it this way? Like I could see some kind of like script writing thing where it points out, it's like, hey, well, you definitely set up this MacGuffin in the first act, and now here we are in the third act. Me, the robot, would have expected you to have brought that back in. Are you sure you want to let that thread drop? So I don't know, maybe that's perfect.
Yeah, just based on the research and how people respond to it. It's fascinating. I can't wait to play around with it.
I think it's good if it's responding to you, if it's responding to public demand, or it's responding to the socio-economic drivers of the news of the period, and it changes the stories around that, which is the danger. I think I would hate that extremely. But if it's responding to me and what I want, all for it.
Right on. Sandvine's latest broadband usage numbers show video taking 70% of bandwidth in North America. Netflix has 37.05%, YouTube 17.85%, Amazon 3.11%, iTunes 2.79%, BitTorrent 2.67%, Hulu 2.58%, and Facebook 2.53%. I gotta tell you, man, the biggest surprise in that entire batch is
porn.
Well, I mean, sure, they're not mentioning porn, but BitTorrent at 2.7%.
Seems
like,
low.
Well, yeah, maybe it's as though there's...
Although BitTorrent is efficient, so maybe it's, it's not an accurate proxy for BitTorrent popularity to talk about bandwidth, because its whole point is to conserve bandwidth. But it's still the same bits per video, right?
Yeah, I would assume that for this kind of thing, they would have a client-based, tabulator that's keeping a track on that. I don't know.
The other one that surprised me was Facebook creeping up right behind Hulu, which is what Facebook's been trying to do. They're trying to get people to watch video. It's not the kind of video we're talking about on this show usually, but that's a lot of video.
Yeah, but also, I mean, we've talked about this before. Facebook is cheating a little bit on their video metrics. They've got autoplay videos, and they count a view as a view if it goes 4 seconds long, whether or not you hear or see any of it. They autoplay without audio, which to me, that's the domain of cheap ads and so on.
Yeah. And that all takes up bandwidth, even if there's no audio. So yeah, right. It's gonna overrepresent. Nielsen says TV viewing by all age groups has been declining since 2010. In May, among 18 to 34-year-olds, the use of smartphones, tablets, and streaming boxes increased 25% to 8.5 million people per minute, while traditional TV viewing, fell 10% to 8.4 million people per unit. Brian, I think it's safe to say this is the first time Nielsen has ever reported more people using smartphones, tablets, and streaming boxes than watching traditional TV.
And it's doubly important because this is a company that has a vested interest in things being the way they've always been, right? Like the Nielsen is the company that established their brand and made their value by assessing, the old-fashioned view of how people watch television. So if they're the ones who are going out of their way to say, yeah, no, people are watching their devices, not the boxes, then I think we can definitely call it as for reals at this point.
Now, these are all North American numbers, Ewan, but does any of this shock you, surprise you?
No, I mean, I use a television to look at stuff and watch stuff, but generally speaking, I'm not watching online TV, BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, Channel 4, those kind of things. It's usually either on demand, or it's something I've recorded, or it's Sky Go, or it's Apple iTunes. That kind of stuff is 90% of my consumption now. So no, I don't think this is I'm outside the demographic of this by some distance, but my son is a zero TV watcher.
Sure. DirectTV has announced it will launch a 4K broadcasting service sometime in early 2016. DirectTV has some 4K, but it only works with its Genie HD DVR and select Samsung TVs. What do you think this means, Tom? In terms of,
well, first of all, we keep talking about is there anybody who does 4K? And this finally clarifies. DirectTV does have a little 4K. That's that niggling thing I've always been half remembering, but it's not available for everyone. DirectTV is making a big deal. Hey, we've got the capacity for 50 channels of 4K. We're going to start launching 4K next year. They're not going to launch with 50 channels. I'll tell you that right now. They don't have that much bandwidth, or they'd have to get rid of a bunch of other channels.
Or that programming.
Two things, though. 4K is becoming real. And the second is DirectTV is trying to play catch up as are cable companies to services like Netflix and Amazon.
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to lie. On a personal level, I really had been considering getting one of those awesome, curved 4K displays. But I've just had enough people say, hold off until the tech figures itself out, that I'm hesitant. I mean, so should I jump on the bandwagon or no, Ewan?
I think the problem that you've got, what's nice is at the moment 1080p isn't Some services are streaming 1080 and some aren't. Some are saying that they're doing HD, but they're still doing 720p and calling it HD. And whether this actually comes out as actual 4K at the end degree when they've launched these 50 channels all at once, as Tom says, I severely doubt. I think I haven't bought a 4K TV, and I won't be buying one until streaming in 4K is a thing which is done well and regularly.
Regularly, yeah, I'm with you there, for sure. All right, let's see what's under surveillance.
I like real estate. It's all about location.
Under surveillance.
Netflix is going to keep making original programming. Content head Ted Sarandos said Monday Netflix will almost double its number of original shows in 2016 from 16 to 31. They also plan to release 10 feature films, 12 documentaries, 10 stand-up specials, and a whopping 30 children's programs. The first trailer for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Sword of Destiny, obviously, we started the show with. That is one of their original movies that will come out in 2016. And before that, Brian, as a teaser to season 2 of Marco Polo, which will be one of the TV series they release next year, we're getting a 1-hour special of Marco Polo called 100 Eyes on December 26th.
Okay, so it's like, on the one hand, it's like you cannot get me back into Marco Polo. That is a fait accompli. It's lost. I'm done. Unless you say the words, but what if it's a whole special of about 100 eyes? And I'm like, damn it. Okay, fine. Yes, I will watch this. I'm super hesitant to learn anything about this. I don't know. Where's your heart at?
Oh, man. I had almost exactly that same thing of like, I really don't want to watch a season 2, but I love 100 Eyes.
Yes.
Like, so you're smart, Netflix. You're giving me 100 Eyes. Ewan, did you watch any of Marco Polo?
No, didn't see any of it. I'm really, really chuffed about the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff. The Crouching Hidden Dragon Tiger thing.
Yeah, all of
that
those.
I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking for that more than Star Wars.
So what? Okay, first of all, those are blasphemous words, and I'm going to pretend I didn't hear them. But like, talk me through why your excitement is so much bigger for this sequel to a property versus the other.
Well, no. I mean, I think Abrams is going to do a great job. The new Star Wars movie, and I don't think it's going to be bad at all. But I really enjoyed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I thought it dealt with interesting concepts. It was one of the first few that came out. There was the House of Daggers one that had done it just before, and I really enjoyed that. And I don't think we do enough of these. I think I really want bad lip synced Chinese drama.
Fair enough.
Just missing in my life.
I'll not be the one to disabuse you of that. I apologize.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was the first movie that Eileen and I saw together on a date.
Ugh.
There you go. See.
So you're all part of the Crouching Tiger agenda.
Yeah.
You're all part of their
Dragon
cabal.
agenda that's crouching like a tiger to get you. Brian, what have you been watching these days?
Dude, I did watch an episode of The Prophet on CNBC through Hulu Prime, which I continue to love. It was not the one that Bryce was as excited about as I thought he was, but
it was a good one though.
It was a solid one, yeah. Specifically, it is weird. Okay, let me ask Bryce this real quick.
Okay.
Did you get the strong impression that they were trying on a little bit of like pro wrestling drama?
Yeah, what if we faked it a little bit?
Yeah,
what
if we took a real story about saving a business and threw in some sexual drama?
There's a lot of coincidences that the show usually doesn't have.
Yeah.
Of just people showing up at certain times and trying to pry people into certain directions that the show doesn't usually have.
And again, I'm not, look, that's the way reality television goes. That's all pre-written and choreographed and set up. But normally you don't see it just on your sleeve the way they did this particular time. But outside of that, I definitely watched Fargo. I watched the first episode of Transparent, first half of that, and caught a couple of episodes. I got caught up on The Leftovers.
Sweet.
All the way through the end of the and what did it was watching everybody chatting it up on Twitter and losing their junk over like how great the end of Leftovers was. So I'm excited.
Now, you told us a bunch of the services you use. What are some of the things you've been watching lately?
Man in the High Castle. Yes, loving that. Looking forward to talking about that and spoiling. Leftovers. I couldn't. Season 1 I watched because of you guys really more than anything, and I got to the end of that and I felt a bit dirty actually. I felt like I was used and thrown aside. And when I read through it a bit and it was like from the makers of Lost, that's what put me off finally. And I haven't gone back to season 2. Not interested.
Let me tell you, and we'll talk about this a little bit in spoiler in time. Leftovers season 2, you could just start with that. Frankly, you need a little bit of the buildup of season 1, but I enjoyed it way more.
And I predict in 5 years' time, you'll be saying, actually, Leftovers season 7, you could start with that.
You may be right.
Accurate.
You may be right. I made a horrible mistake last night, and I watched A Very Murray Christmas instead of watching the season finale of The Leftovers, which I then had to race to squeeze in today.
How is the Murray Christmas?
I just didn't like it.
Oh no! Did it just feel like cheesy and forced?
There were some really good moments in it. There were some parts where Bill Murray recaptured a little bit of the spark of the Bill Murray of Stripes. That was fun to watch, but there was a lot of singing. And at first it was like, oh, okay, we're gonna make fun of the singing in these kind of specials. Then after a half hour, I was like, no, we're just gonna sing songs. We're gonna sing the whole song, and I skipped through.
You're like that guy who walks a half mile through the tunnel to arrive at Moe's bar, looks around, and then says, "Wait a minute, this isn't faux dive. It's just an actual dive."
I wish that were true. I wish that was what it was. It was more the opposite of like, I really wanted to dive, and instead they gave me a faux dive. Like, it had a cool premise. There were some great moments. Bill Murray was fantastic in it. I don't know. Sofia Coppola's concept just didn't work for me. You may love it. I don't know. Maybe you like music. Maybe you're not dead inside like me. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Ewan, was there anything else that you watched before we move on?
I watched Terminator Genesis this week and caught up on that. And I just wanted to actually say that I listened to Cordkillers when you guys kind of talked about that in spoilering. And you mentioned about having a human sack bag. So when they travel back in time, why don't they just carry all the guns in a human sack bag? And I just thought to myself, that's what's happening with all the Patreon donations. You're going to build a human sack factory in the back garden.
Maybe.
That's how it starts, you see, small.
I mean, first of all, it's a perfectly reasonable way to build a. I mean, if you have a time machine that for whatever reason can only teleport humans and human-filled sacks of human stuff, I mean,
so forget the
Terminators.
Then we're going to start breeding humans so we can kill them to make sacks out of them.
Yes, of course.
There's a plot
conscious
story. Well
ones.
done, Brian.
What you do is you get a bunch of kids and you train them from birth to swallow barrels and clips and guns and triggers, and then so they have a giant belly, and then they fly over, and then you split them open and you open up and you assemble guns. I'm sorry, this is horrific. I should not.
You want to edit that because if your local social services are listening, mate.
Meanwhile, let me lighten the mood. I watched The Wiz. Which every year Eileen has the NBC live musical on, and I sort of go, and then she's like, yeah, it wasn't that good. This year, it honestly riveted me. The performances were fantastic. They had amazing stars. They were good singers. It was fun.
This was a live performance version.
Yes, performance of the musical The Wiz.
And so for anybody under 20, we should explain that broadcast television used to be the only way to watch stuff. So to recapture that, they figured out that only during sporting events does everybody tune in at the same time to watch the same show. So they've done Peter Pan in the past. They've done some other stuff in the past.
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music in the past. So it's basically, this is a way to get everybody to chime in. Was there any great epic fails?
I didn't see any. And I never looked online to find out like, oh, you missed the thing where the thing happened. There was nothing like that. It all seemed to go off without a hitch.
Right.
So anyway, Ask your parents to install Slingbox so you can watch it, kids. I also watched Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, and I've already watched Star Wars Return of the Jedi for Pretend I'm Dumb About Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back's episode is there already. Return of the Jedi will come out on Thursday for a week in advance of Force
Real
Awakens.
quick. And again, for those of you guys who don't know, Tom is going through the experience of watching all the classic episodes of Star Wars as if he knew nothing about Star Wars and watching them in order. One of the most universally accepted truths among geeks is that Empire is the best. Does that stand up?
Ish.
Yes,
but not as good as you think it is, or not as good as it is when you've watched them naturally over the course of your lifetime.
So I guess
you got to tune in to find out.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and then can't wait for Thursday when you get to meet the mini bears.
The mini bears, which of course you have to invent a name because the word Ewok is never spoken in the movies. If you know the word Ewok, it's only because you're part of the marketing machine that George Lucas set up.
Totally. All right. Before we get to this dispatches, Bryce, you've been on the lookout. What have you found for us?
Yeah, so this actually came in from a viewer, Kevin. It's called Charlie Jade. Do you guys know Charlie Jade?
No.
This is I believe you said it was a South African and English joint sort of production. He writes, this show is part sci-fi, part detective show. It's a 20-episode single season, very cinematic. The visuals and the score are a huge part of the experience. And while it's not full of action, it's not full of action. It's a slow-moving story that rewards you for paying attention. It's not for everybody, but for the folks who appreciate good sci-fi will likely want to watch it. You can watch the 20-episode season on Hulu for free. You don't even need to be a Plus subscriber. I also mentioned last week about some shows that you can watch with the family if you are having like a holiday get together and you just need to have something on TV. You can find a lot of good stuff on Hulu and Netflix. Some really like good neutral shows like Mythbusters, How It's Made, Pawn Stars, Bob's Burgers, a lot of family-friendly stuff you can find on there on both of those. Some of them like Mythbusters and How It's Made are only they're like a collection of episodes. They're not like a full run, but it'll depend on where you go. But there are a couple of suggestions for you if you've got a family.
Now, one of the things that I'm an admirer of is Ayaz Akhtar's lists and videos on CNET telling you what's coming to all these services. As the services keep adding more shows all the time, and then they lose licenses and they get licenses, it can be confusing. So I asked Ayaz if he'd give us a little rundown of some of the biggest stuff that's coming, and Brian, he totally did it.
Well, what? What did he say?
Well, let's find out. Ayaz.
Cordkillers, you want to know what's online in December? Because we got you covered. On December 11th, Amazon streams the second season of its award-winning series, Transparent. 3 movies are hitting both Amazon and Hulu. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar streams on December 12th. The Oscar-winning Selma arrives on December 19th. And in case you need more Mark Wahlberg in your life, The Gambler goes online on December 26th. What about Netflix? It's got a star-studded original available on December 4th called A Very Murray Christmas. It stars Bill Murray as himself, and in this movie, he's attempting to put together a holiday television special. The cast is full of stars, including Chris Rock and George Clooney. On the television series front, Netflix has a new animated show from comedian Bill Burr called F is for Family. If you know anything about Burr, you won't be surprised to find out this show isn't exactly family-friendly, but it could be really funny. F is for Family starts streaming on December 18th. Check out cnet.com/netpicks to see full lists from Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, and other places. I'm Ayaz. I'll see you later.
Thanks for doing that, Ayaz.
Dude,
that was awesome.
Ayaz is the best.
I know.
Shall
Can't
we
wait
take
to get him on for a full show?
Yes, but first we should have some dispatches from the front.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, I'm just suggesting. That wasn't me. I don't drive.
Good suggestion.
I mean, I'm just in the passenger seat.
Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian is a guy who wrote in an email. And he said he doesn't want to pay for more than a month of Amazon Prime. He says the delivery's crap where he is, but he still wants to watch Man in the High Castle. So here's his thing. At first you're like, well, just pay for it and watch it. But he's like, yeah, I only want to watch Man in the High Castle. I don't want to pay for a whole year of Amazon Prime, but I got to pay for a year's subscription of Amazon Prime to watch it.
I mean, isn't that the beauty of Amazon Prime is that you only have to pay $9.99 and jump in and watch all of it and then get out?
But you have to pay for You have to pay $99, don't you?
I don't think there is a monthly option.
I could have sworn that we covered it as a story that there was. Hold on, let me look it up. Amazon.
Yeah, I'm looking for that too. Because then
monthly.
that's his answer. Is like, well, don't worry about the shipping. They did a trial of monthly payments in 2013 or 2012, but I can't find anything else there.
I am surprised that they don't offer up those shows as individual seasons, but I guess once you hit a certain point, that's the cost of Prime.
Yeah.
Well, you can buy some of them in iTunes, can't you? But you have to pay for them as series.
Yeah, Man in the High Castle isn't one of those yet. I'm sure eventually they'll start
But
selling.
I haven't paid. I paid my very first Amazon subscription for Amazon Prime, and I've never paid for it since. And the reason is because I live in an area where the delivery drivers are crap. So every time they deliver to my neighbours I don't even know, who I now know most of them thanks to Amazon, I ring up and I complain about the fact that they didn't deliver it to the alternate address that I gave them. Because actually my office is 10 doors up from where I live. So the lazy gits could walk up here and drop it off without me complaining. But every time I ring and complain, I get 30 days on my Amazon Prime. And I've never paid them one since.
Huh.
That's
Dude, straight from the horse's mouth, man. That's the way to go. Meanwhile, Jay writes us saying, hello, wonderful employees. Just got the survey in the mail Saturday. It's not a diary, just a $2 bribe to fill out a survey and possibly be contacted. I assume he means from the folks over at Nielsen. He says, I'm kind of excited to provide a cord-cutting opinion. Can't help but wonder, though, what difference it will make, as the only primetime show I actually watch is The Big Bang Theory. Keep up the wonderful work. Thank you very much, Jay. Dude, do what I did. Lie out your ass and say that you only watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force 5 days a week. That's what I did.
And don't tell them it's you that did that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, keep the $2. Stealth Dave has been a TV household for 15 years. And he loves the idea of Android Power TiVo. Basically, they've been passing on upgrading a TiVo because they have lifetime memberships on the TiVos they have, and nothing has convinced them that it's worth giving that up. But he says if TiVo came out with a device that had Android apps built in and can implement something like OnePass technology to search for content on multiple services, they will be killing cords all over the place.
Dude, right on. Yes.
Nice job, Stealth Dave. Oh, wait, was that really Stealth Dave?
Done. By the way, longtime contributor. Oh, it just disappeared.
Yeah, that was my fault. There was one that's supposed to be in Spoiler in Time that I forgot to move. So.
Great. Okay. Unrelated other email from James says that in episode 98, the last dispatch from the front that Tom read for Marcus, he was looking for a way to figure out when new episodes premiered. He says he uses Follow Shows. They offer iOS and Android apps that go along with the website. You just create a login and follow any show from Netflix, Amazon, HBO, etc. It works well for him, and that lets him know which episodes were watched. So if you know you're not going to watch the others episodes for a while, you know what episodes to start back on. It's a free service, but I've never paid for it. They may mess up a show every once in a while. Not a great ringing endorsement, but I find them pretty good at at getting everything updated. So that's something to check out. Followshows.com, for example, followshows.com/themaninthe-high-castle.
Hey, Ewan, do you run into this problem of wanting to have somebody remind you when a show comes back with a new series?
Yeah, no, House of Cards is a classic example. I'm sitting thinking it's got to be any time now. It's got to be any time now. It's got to be any time now. And of course, it's not. It's at the start of next year. So you kind of guess when some of them are, don't you? Like you know that Orange is the New Black is hitting sometimes around summer, early summer. But the exact dates would be good. What you'd love is an app or even something on the internet where you could search for it.
Yeah, Google used to actually allow you to set a reminder on your Google Calendar when you searched from the search results for television shows. But I tried it after we got this email. It's not there anymore. I took that away. And also, people keep telling me that Vudu isn't on Fire TV and that I keep saying it is. And I think I figured out my confusion. There is no Vudu app for Fire TV, for Amazon Fire TV. They're absolutely right. And so when I say that, it is a bald-faced lie. However, I think my confusion stems from the fact that Flixster has an app on Fire TV, and Flixster is an ultraviolet member, which means anything I buy on Vudu that is part of the ultraviolet universe, I can then watch on Flixster, which is the majority of things on Vudu. So I think that's why I kept thinking like, oh yeah, I bought it on Vudu and I can watch it on Fire TV. Not because Fire TV has a Vudu app. I forgot. It's because Flixster has that app.
Wild.
Yeah.
Ewan, where can we see more of your lovely, beautiful face?
BritishTechNetwork.com. We've got loads and loads of shows. Mac Show and Gamer Show are the two that I host. But there's the Daily News Show with Kyle every day. You get all the tech news in 5 minutes. And we've got a few tie-ups with Mac Fun and Mac Poor at the moment, which is well worth going to. If you check out this week's Mac Show, you can get 30% off Mac Poor software. And that's it. The Gamer Show is on there with Paul Wheatley, and the Pocket Show, and the Guitar Show with Lee Peterson. We've got loads of stuff.
It's great to see all the stuff that you're doing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've got some great people around the network and lots of people contributing. We've got a new show coming called The Castaway Show, which is an unashamed tip of the nod to Desert Island Discs, but it's going to be all about tech and only tech people involved. And the waves are going to wash away your tech, and you've got to grab one. And it's a rip-off. There's no question of it. And we're also going to do the Output Show, which is a productivity show with Lee Garrett. That's coming soon as well.
Keep an eye out, folks. BritishTechNetwork.com. Go check it out. Subscribe to some stuff. You will not be sorry. Our website is Cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on DiamondClub.tv Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Cords are killed.
Hey guys, Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/Cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.